Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Captain's Log. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault. And which log is this going to be? This is going to be 3/13/2023. And what we're going to talk about today is several different games. Some that have been delayed and some that are coming up real soon. And we're going to look at some of the reasoning behind it. Now first and foremost on this list, I want to talk about Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones I have been looking forward to for quite some time. It's an Ubisoft game. It's a pirate game. And it was delayed. God, this thing's been in development hell for years now. And the most recent date it was supposed to be released was, I believe, March or April of this year. But once again, it has been delayed. And this time, there's no release date announced. But Ubisoft's come back and said that they have an improved version of Skull and Bones that will get fans excited again, but there's still no release date for it. Ubisoft confirmed that it's been working on an improved version of the much-delayed pirate action-adventure game Skull and Bones. It was first announced at E3 2017 under the development of Ubisoft Singapore and was supposed to be released in late 2018 for PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. However, it's been delayed several times since then. It was due for a release last November. Now, if I remember correctly, that was right around the same time that God of War was coming out, if not I think the day before or something like that. And then it was pushed back to March 9th of this year, which was yesterday. Well, at least at the time of recording. But earlier again this year, they delayed it again, saying that the release date would be shared very soon, but it's been a while, and we still don't have any release dates announced as of yet. During a recent earnings call, Ubisoft Chief Financial Officer Frederick Dug was answering questions from investors when he was asked about the sales target for Skull and Bones and how will it be affected by this lengthy development process. I'm asking because I've seen the reviews and they don't look particularly strong, added the investor. We've been very happy with the playtest that we've seen in early January, and we have a very strong improved version to show to players that they haven't seen yet to get explained via PC Gamer. So this is really what we're going to leverage in the next month to drive more momentum on the game. Beyond a handful of private playtests, Ubisoft has only released a few gameplay trailers of Skull and Bones. So elsewhere in the earnings call, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot claimed that many delays, including Skull and Bones, and cancellations the company has announced in recent weeks was a result of the studio working on too many games. We've canceled a few games because we needed to make space for other games that are in development in the company, and that's really helping all the other games that are progressing well, Guillemot said. Now, we feel we have the right number of games, knowing that we will launch a lot of games in financial year 24 that will also give space for other games that are on the way in the company. So there's that, right? So my thoughts on this is good. I have to admit I was somewhat disappointed in what was shown through Skull and Bones. What was shown looked good. I like the concept of a game that is a naval battle game set in a pirating world with customizable ships that have tons of ways to customize it, from the defenses to the offensive weapons, all that stuff, as well as how the ship looks, the colors you're going to be able to use, and all that kind of stuff, the banners and flags it's going to fly. It's a great concept, but I will admit that it was a little disappointing that it was so limited, and that when you took over a ship and beat it and you were able to board it, you basically were treated to a cutscene, and that was it. And the only time you were off the ship and roaming around was in different ports, I guess. We saw one or maybe two in some of the previews where you're basically buying customizable things for your ship. You're upgrading weapons, you're buying different ships and all that kind of stuff. So the ship was lending itself toward a live service setup, and I believe that's kind of what the route they want to go with this. And if they do want to go that route, then just make it a free game and give it a lot of microtransactions or battle passes or whatever you want to do to maintain it. Don't charge us $60 or $70 for a full game and then riddle it with microtransactions for cosmetics and all that. That would be a little frustrating. So I'm kind of anxious to see where this goes. Right now, on the fence on it. I just have some bad feelings, and I don't know if I want to go ahead with this. I thought it'd be fun to play with a couple guys, do some live streams once a week with it, and go out there and go PvP against other players and work as a team and defeat them or get our asses handed to us, whatever the case may be. It looked like it could be a lot of fun, and then I can do videos during the week on it, on like different ships I'm working on, different builds I want to go for and stuff like that, and how we're going to take on the next week's challenges. But at this point, I've lost a lot of interest in this game, and that breaks my heart because I'm a pirate at heart, and it looks like it could be so much fun. So I'm anxiously waiting to see what they announce next, what they show us next. Will they be giving us some of those things that I want, and as well as a lot of other players have wanted, because the reception for the game has been very, very poor up to this date for the most part. I mean, there's some people out there that are digging it like me, but again, even I'm like, I'm not too sure about this. But let's move on to the next game we're going to talk about. Now, here's another game that's been delayed a few times, quite a bit actually, but on a good note, they do have a release date, and that's Bethesda's Starfield, which is going to be an Xbox exclusive. Of course, it'll be on PC as well. I believe it's going to be a day one Game Pass. At least that was the intention, although a recent trailer that was put out did not have the Game Pass logo or whatever indicator on it, so people are kind of questioning it. The last time they announced it was supposed to be out early in 2023, but now it looks like it's getting a September 6th release date, and that's got a lot of people up in arms and upset and all that, and I get it. This game's a long time coming. I'm a long time Bethesda fan, and as a PlayStation owner, I'm a little salty that Xbox bought Bethesda and that games like this are going to be exclusives to it. I may end up getting an Xbox down the road once this channel grows to a point where it's actually generating a little bit of income. I'll reinvest that income into getting more things that we can talk about, because I'd love to be able to expand beyond PlayStation and build an actual gaming computer. I mean, I've got one now, but I use it for my film production, and I honestly want to keep it straight up for that. If I get a gaming computer, I'm going to build a monster. I want to be able to do the top of the line stuff on it. This computer would run them at good settings and all that, but it wouldn't be top notch. But that's way down the road. But for now, I wouldn't mind getting an Xbox so I could expand things out a little bit and do some Xbox games and look at some of the exclusives. Xbox has never been something, I've never owned one, and I never really had a lot of interest in getting one. It just seemed like PlayStation took care of what I wanted from a console. I've had them since the very first one, and been happy with it. But with games like Starfield coming to it, it's kind of made me rethink that. And then I look forward, like Elder Scrolls, Fallout. I don't know if I could live without Fallout. Doom, whatever else is coming out, and then with the potential acquisition of Activision and Blizzard, it's making it tough, man, making it tough. So anyway, Bethesda Starfield will now be released on September 6th. The big upcoming title from Microsoft-owned Bethesda is getting a new release date today. Starfield's been delayed to the first half of 2023, and it will now arrive even later on September 6th. In a new video, game director Todd Howard says Bethesda and Microsoft will now hold a Starfield Direct event on June 11th to detail the game. So mark that date down if you're looking forward to this, and check it out. It'd be interesting to see what they have to show. This June, we're going to bring you into the studio and give you a deep dive into the game at our Starfield Direct, says Howard. There's so much that we have to show you. The dedicated Starfield showcase will follow Microsoft's annual Xbox showcase on Sunday, June 11th. Starfield was originally set to launch on November 11, 2022, which would have paid homage to the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim release date of 11/11/11. I was there. I remember it. Microsoft and Bethesda went on to show a full 15 minutes of Starfield gameplay during the Xbox and Bethesda showcase earlier this year. Starfield is naturally set in space where players will take on the role of a last group of explorers described as Skyrim in space by game director Tom Howard. The RPG will be playable in both first and third person, but primarily it's first person. The main story is centered on the Constellation, the last group of space explorers. Bethesda's leaning heavily on character customization with a flexible system that allows players to customize skin tones, facial structure, hair, and more. Starfield players can also pick 3 traits to customize for their character, and the skill system will include unlocks and separate ranks. There are also resources to craft weapon mods on top of this. During the first gameplay video, flying around looked particularly impressive in Starfield, and it suggests many of the battles in the game won't be contained to just planets. You can land and explore freely on all the planets in the system of Starfield, and Bethesda says there are more than 1,000 planets all open for players to explore. Starfield launches exclusively on Xbox Series XS and PC on September 6th, and it's still saying it will be available on day one Xbox Game Pass. And I've seen some of the footage from the gameplay and all that, and it has a decidedly Bethesda look to it. You know, I've played enough Fallout, enough Elder Scrolls to know what a Bethesda game looks like, and this game looks like a Bethesda game in space. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that's the feeling it gives me. The way that the camera moves when characters talk and all that, it just has that old school feeling of Bethesda games. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this game has to offer. It'll be interesting to see how it's received. Will it be worth the wait? I hope it is. You know, the better games that are out there, the more options we have as players, that makes things better. That keeps the competition fierce. So we'll see what's up with that. Now, next game we got to talk about is another delay, and this one does not have a happy ending like the last one did, Starfield. This is Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and it's been reportedly delayed indefinitely. Now, this is a game that it hasn't really been on my radar much, and it still isn't. I'm not really looking at this game as something that I want to get into. I didn't get into Gotham Knights. I didn't get into the Avengers game. I only got into Marvel's Midnight Suns because it was a pretty good discount offer, and I was like, you know what? I like Firaxis and I like XCOM. Let me try it out. And I'm going to be honest, it was disappointing for me, at least. It didn't live up to what I'd hoped it would be. It was fun, but there were other extenuating factors that made it not fun. But in any case, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League premiered a lot of gameplay at last month's PlayStation State of Play, and when it became clear that developer Rocksteady Studios was going full throttle into live service elements that lacked the imagination of its Batman Arkham series, the backlash was swift and vocal, and boy was it, Twitter was on fire. Apparently Rocksteady is taking that harsh criticism and disappointment to heart, as according to Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, Rocksteady has internally delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League indefinitely. The game was supposed to launch on May 26th, and Rocksteady and Warner Brothers have yet to publicly confirm the delay. Anonymous sources relayed the delay news to Bloomberg, but the specific cause for the delay was not stated. Still, it isn't difficult to imagine that the overwhelmingly negative reception to the State of Play footage played a major factor in the decision. Yet it's not even that Kill the Justice League looks like a bad game, rather it just looks frustrating, similar to many other live service games, and a lot of live service games have been dropping dead lately because there just isn't a large enough player pool to support all these games in the first place. It leads one to wonder what error-ridden math these executives are using that they keep thinking these games are a good idea. It remains to be seen what changes Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League might undergo after being delayed without a new release date. But de-emphasizing some of the live service elements and doing more to express the gameplay individuality of the characters could go a long way toward winning public support back. That being said, that would require large-scale changes, and as Schreier has noted separately, it's likely that the delay is more to just put polish on the systems already in place. In any case, the game is still expected to launch sometime this year. And again, I'm going to be honest, zero interest. I don't like live service games very much. I did play a lot of Fallout 76, which was great, but I'm heavily invested into Fallout. I love Fallout. I may have said that before, but I love Fallout. This game just looks like another bland team-up game that, you're going to go look for cool cosmetics and all that. I don't know. I just don't see the appeal in these things. I do see the appeal in them, just like I see the appeal in those big games like PUBG and and Rust and all that survival games, these big, these big games, these awesome online games. I see the appeal in them, yeah. But how many of them out there are going to be sustainable? How many times can you try to go up against a live service game that's already entrenched with a huge fan base? And what percentage of that fan base do you expect to chip away from it and then retain? I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, especially in a market within these entrenched live service games that will span years and years out there. It's hard to get in there. No one's going to go in and destroy World of Warcraft by creating the next World of Warcraft. It's just not going to happen. So games like that, these massive games online that have been established, are going to win. Executives that keep pushing for the next one, they're going to keep losing, I'm afraid. It's just, I don't see it happening any other way. But what do I know? I'm just a gamer. So anyway, next up, let's talk some good news. And good news is we've got a game you may have heard about before called Diablo 4 coming out. Now, I've played every single Diablo from the very first one on PC when it was just set in that little town and you had like 7 or 9 different levels to go down, and absolutely love that game. Diablo 2 came out and whoa, it blew my mind. Lord of Destruction expansion came out for it, even made it better. It was incredible. Then I ended up downloading a mod for it that was a pretty big mod that overhauled a lot of different things in it. And oh my god, I must have played that game for 10 years. And that's not a joke. 10 years on PC, I must have played that game. Diablo 3 came out, and yeah, it had its flaws. And Blizzard has been getting greedy with things, and they kind of screwed that one up from the beginning. I wasn't as excited about it in the beginning, but they righted the ship. They fixed things and got rid of some stuff that was not so good in it, but it always had that taint from the start. And then when Blizzard announced that Diablo Immortal a couple years back, and then asked everybody, what, you don't have a phone? Yeah, that really pissed a lot of people off. So Diablo 4, I'm looking at it, I've been on the fence with it, and I'm kind of leaning toward getting it. The more I see about it, it looks like it's going to be fun. They've got 3 levels of buying it, from the regular game to the digital deluxe and then the ultimate edition. So there's a little variety there. There's a battle pass in place. I don't know how often they're going to introduce a new battle pass, what it's going to entail, what it's going to cost, and all that. Those kind of things bother me a little bit. It's like, well, I kind of miss the old Diablo where you just played the hell out of it and you went through and you tried to get the best gear that you loved and complete sets and all that. But whatever, we'll see what it offers and all that. I have a feeling I'm going to jump on it, but we'll see. But in any case, Diablo 4 release date, beta trailers, gameplay, and features. There's a lot going on with this game. Looks like it's going to be released in June 6, 2023, but you can play the game 4 days early on June 2nd if you pre-order the Ultimate or Digital Deluxe editions, just like you could with the Hogwarts game, and I did that, and I enjoyed it. It was nice having a couple days advanced. Being that this is a multiplayer game with a lot of multiplayer facets to it, that's going to give people an edge when it comes to multiplayer interactions, which is kind of interesting. If you're a guy that's gonna, if you're a Diablo fanatic and you're gonna take 4 days off of work and play 4 days early, by the time everybody else joins in, you're gonna be a powerhouse. So there's that. But it's cool. It looks like there's also some beta testing going on. That 2 weekends of it. The first being the 17th through the 19th, which is coming up right this upcoming weekend, and then the second one will be the 24th to the 26th of March. They allow you to play a certain amount of the game in that, test things out. I think you can achieve like level 25 or something like that. And if you reach that, you can be entered into a Cathedral of Diablo sweepstakes, which will get your image put up in this cathedral or something. I don't know. It's kind of creative. Let's look at it. But anyway, so Diablo 4 looking good. There's 5 different character types you can play as: the Barbarian, the Necromancer, the Rogue, the Sorcerer, and the Druid. These are all classic throwbacks from as far back as Diablo 2, if I remember correctly. And I don't remember if all of them were in 3. It's been a while since I played that, but the game looks complex. It looks layered. It's more than it used to be. It's not just a ARPG where you are trying to get the best equipment and the best rolls on equipment. There's a lot to do in a multi-layered skill system, which I kind of want to sink my teeth into, and that's what's really selling me on this game, is the customized ability of your character by doing these different things with your skills and your Paragon points. You recall Paragon points from the last Diablo game and how much fun they were. I never went back and got Diablo 2 Resurrected. It seemed like a lot of money for a rehash of a game that I played for 10 years, and while the nostalgia factor would have been there and I would have probably enjoyed it, I have a feeling I would have burnt out on it in a couple weeks. So I never really bothered with that one. So I don't know if they introduced a Paragon system to that or anything, but the Paragon system's back. Looks bigger than ever. It looks awesome. I'm looking forward to it, so hopefully you are too. Let me know down in the comments what you think. And last but not least, a game that's coming out a little bit sooner than Diablo 4, but we've been waiting for a long time, is Dead Island 2. The release date, trailer, gameplay. There's a lot going on with this game. The release date now it was, I think, April 28th, 2023. Now it's been moved up to April 21st, so it's actually coming out sooner than later, which is, yeah, you never really hear that in this business. But you got to put it in context. This game has been in development for close to a decade, since the original Dead Island. And we all know the relationship between Dead Island and Dying Light and all that. They just put out about 14 minutes of footage of gameplay, and it looks insanely fun. You know, it's got a lot more vibrant, bright colors than Dying Light. Dying Light had a darker aesthetic to it, a little grittier look to it, dirtier. This one, I mean, everything, it's a post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, so everything's messed up and disgusting, and there's death and destruction everywhere, but it's so bright and vibrant, and it just looks like a good time. This game looks like it's geared more for co-op multiplayer than Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2, it was a little wonky with that. This one looks like it's kind of built for it, so I can't wait to hop on with a couple buddies and go out there and just smash some zombies. The variety of ways that you can unleash death and destruction are great. I mean, I've seen them lighting, blowing up gas canisters. I've seen them knocking transformers off of poles into pools of water to cause some shocking damage, and I've seen the close-up kills driving a knife through the base, through somebody's jaw and through the top of their head. It just looks absolutely disgusting, sick, bloody fun, and I can't wait for it, and I hope it does well. I really do. The first Dead Island was a lot of fun. It's still fun to this day. Riptide was not bad either. Not as good as the original Dead Island, but still fun. I played through both of them a little bit. I never completed either of them. I was late to the party on those. I do plan on going back one day when I have time to go through my old catalog and play them. I picked them up for pennies on the dollar, so they're just kind of sitting there waiting for a weekend when I can just sit back and kill zombies all weekend long. So let me know what you think of these delays that are happening out there. I see delays as good things. I don't want to see another Cyberpunk 2077 release, and I love that game to death, and I love the fact that CD Projekt Red stuck with that game, fixed that game, and made it at least close to what they wanted it to be. I can't speak for them personally, but the game is much closer to what was promised. And they got DLC coming out for it, and they're still fixing things in it. So you got to commend them for it. But releasing it early like that was a mistake, and they paid a big price for it. Their stock dropped. There was a lot of shakeup going on there, a lot of craziness. But I believe, in my eyes at least, they've redeemed themselves. I never held it against them. I get it. As a developer, there's different levels to these companies, and the top level, the executive level, is always the level that cares the least about the consumer and the most about the product. You can have a dedicated team of 1,000 developers working on a game with loving reverence and wanting to give you the best product possible, but if the guys at the top are whipping you and yelling at you and demanding things happen on a timeline that is unsustainable, then what you're going to put out in the end is going to be an inferior product. And I believe that's what happened to them. Again, I'm not on the inside, so I couldn't tell you for real, but I mean, from what we've heard, that seems to be what happened. So seeing a game like Skull and Bones get delayed with all the negative reaction to it, I was glad it was delayed. I was glad it was delayed in November, and I was glad it was delayed again in March. I'm like, you know what? It was disappointing, but I was also glad. I wanted God of War Ragnarok anyway, and in March I was like, there's plenty of stuff coming out in March. I got a full plate ahead of me. You know, delay it, make it right. The next trailer that's released, the next gameplay that's looked at, and the next time Ubisoft comes out and talks about this game is going to determine whether or not the game stays on my radar or drops off. Right now it's on the edge of it, and that's fine. Starfield again, Bethesda, we used to call them Bugthesda. Their games are notoriously buggy and always have been, and that's part of the charm of them, quite honestly. As long as they're not game breaking or bugs that stop you from progression or something like that, they can be kind of funny. But it's good to see them delay the game yet again, but now they have at least a solid date announced. Will they stick to it? I've seen the comments on Twitter. Some people are like, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's good. And the whole Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, to be honest with you, I have very little interest in it, and I have a feeling that, like Schreier said, it's going to be polish, put a little spit and polish on it, and throw it out there and see what happens. And I have a feeling it's going to be another disappointing superhero game. And quite honestly, were it not for Spider-Man 2 coming out, it really the Spider-Man Miles Morales, those were great superhero games. But for the most part, these superhero games have been disappointing. And it just seems like these developers are, the executives at these places are just trying to do cash grabs on IPs that have a built-in fan base, and they're just churning out subpar products for those fans, and in the end it's going to bite them in the ass because the fans are going to stop buying. These guys should look at Spider-Man and hopefully the upcoming Wolverine. I have a lot of faith in that one, but for now at least Spider-Man Miles Morales, that's how you do a superhero game. You don't do it like Midnight Suns, you don't do it like the Avengers, you don't do it like this Gotham Knights, you do it like Spider-Man, you do it like the Arkham series that Rocksteady did with Batman. You do games like that, they're going to sell, they're going to make the fan base happy, and they're good, solid games. I mean, none of them are perfect, but they're all good, solid games. That's what you go for. I have a feeling these multiplayer team games are going to go to the wayside after that, and these developers should go back to focusing on more single character games that you can become that character and play as them throughout your entire playthrough. That's the way to go. But again, what do I know? Let me know what you think about Diablo. Are you interested in that game? You want to see me play it? I might go through that one. I don't think I would do a playthrough on it, as it's kind of a repetitive game, but I will probably just go through and do some focused videos on skills and drops and fighting world bosses, stuff like that. And Dead Island 2 is a definite win. I've already got several guys that are going to play, and we're going to get on there. We'll probably live stream that once a week and have some fun with that one. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment below. Leave a like on the video. It's always appreciated. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Ring that bell for notifications, and don't forget. Yeah, I think that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, peace.